Good day, everyone. I'm Eunice Pico, one of the reporters in our topic of current issues in Philippine politics. So our objective is to discuss the different political and constitutional issues challenges. So, ang Pilipinas gayon nag-faces ng mga grabe kadaghanin ng mga issues gikan sa politics to constitutional. Hantod ko man, influence gihapon niya on siya sa ato present. Nag-form yan sa combination of historical factors, sa political dynamics, and societal reality. So, sa political issues, ang pinakauna guide kay political dynasty. Isa din siya sa pinakadi mawala na challenges na ni sa Pilipinas. Ang haod diyaon, sa example kay ang politiko na may control haod na yon mayor, basically, ihatag na nila ang power or ang nila authority sa ila da pamilya. This is disorder because of political power in the hands of few families, which undermines democratic principles such as equal representation. Ano videon siya ba na nagpapamraghaon ng nepotism o opportunities na dilim ka na sa iban kaysa ila dagayod. Ang second sab, kay ang corruption. Sa videon siya, dili sa gay mawala nga na, especially sa Pilipinas, sa odan yaon, sa voting, yan, haod sa mga standard nato na maghatag ang mga candidate ng kwarta sa ibang specific na mga tao para sila kay magboto sa ila. Amo yung mga types na corruption gayod ba na di erode ang public trust gayod under that rule of law gayod sa ato economy. So ang third kay insecurity and secessionist movement. Particularly, yung nga ni mas kasod sa mga dili gayod sa cities, kagatis ko na yung people na haod yung mga NPA. Campaign has often been marred by human rights violations including dito sa extrajudicial killings and red tagging where individuals were labeled as community sympathizers. Furthermore, the extreme movement in southern Philippines, spearheads by the Moro National Leveling Front or an MNLF, as another of complexity of the political landscape. So, yan sabi na, kaya ito yung killings, yan siya. Political polarization of Kai, the Philippines is increasingly characterized by political preparation where opposing grounds values of English and hatred rhetorical often hinders conscious compromise and make it difficult to address critical issues. Sa constitutional issues na sab, ang pinakaunang kay ang charter change. Basically, sa issue yun ko nga nag-debate yung mga politiko na i-change na ko ng amendment na 1987 constitution nato nga na. Grabe na videoan ko na siya na team sa Pilipinas politics na bayuhan na gayud ko na yung nga na kay times are changing lagi. Kumandid ko si President Bongbong Marcos ga-express gid siya support na mag-change gid ng constitution, especially sa economic provisions. Pero may mga iba sab ko na concerned or something yung nga na lisod ko bayluhan kay basin potential yan sa iba na mga corrupt ng mga politician na gamiton ko niyon sa iba na for abuse or manipulation pag kanhang sa amendment process naman sa wala pa gayud sila na i-change ang constitutional nato Pilipinas. So ikaduha, the strong presidency. So in the 1987 constitution, yang gid ko nga na ang president tagtagaan na nakuit na power, including sa ability ng mga key officials, veto legislation, and declare martial law. Ang system ko na yun na mag-provide ng stability o decisive leadership sa ato president. Pero daghan ko yun may ga-argue or dili ganahan na basin abuse ang power o gamay ko na yun checks and balances kay daghan na ko na yun na power sa iya. Well, ang katulo, economic provisions. So, the Constitution restrictive economic provisions have been gidebate sa biyon nila ng mga politiko. Ang iban, ga-argue on sila sa foreign investments and economic growth. Proponents of Dayton Charter, which is a charter change, cite these provisions as a key justification for constitutional reform. So, ang maato niya dito sa lang na charter change na kaina na kinahanglan na i-change gusto ni President Bongbong Marcos na i-change ko noon 1987 na constitution para especially sa economic provisions sa diyon sa ato foreign yon nga sa ila. Pero problema dili gihapon yon sila kay may concerns pa gayud o daghan mag-argue kuno na may something goes wrong sa hawdan niyaon. So, ika-of course, the role of the church. The influence of the Catholic Church of the Philippines kay significant factor gayud sa ato yon. Gitawagan kita na Catholic country kay kasugay dili influence sa ato. Pero tungod sa changing times of shaping public opinion, advocating for social justice kuno, may na-issuehan niyaon sila hawdan yung controversy na hawdan sa mga LGBT o kinasabawal gay marriages o yon sa divorce sab na issue. Human rights violations. Ang mga idea din namo sa third stage guide namo na i-report sa iyo. So, sa Pilipinas guide, major concern guide siya, especially ato sa unang 2021, it's kay Duterte, war on drugs na extrajudicial killings kuno. So, sa una din na topic, pero hantod ko man, affect gihapon kita kay isugod na niya si President Marcos nag-talk office, may ilako na yaon nga na disagreement. So, lako na nila, perpetrators often go and punish o mga activists, journalists, o mga human rights defenders face violence, harassment, and intimidation. So, the government practice of red tagging kaya mga individuals innocente kay falsely guide sila labeled as criminals or terrorists just because nag-defend sila or something nga na even though why false yan siya the charges. So, nagano siya sa human rights violation and enforced disappearance also persists with many cases of living prolonged distress kuno sa mga tao. So, hantod ko man, makita sa balita nato ng mga tao na may nangyari sa ila, na disappear sila sa mga family nga na, nag-question, nag-worry, pero wag hapon sila makita, tapos waray news, dugay kuno. Ang masag ko na yan mga cases unresolved, apil sa dito sa mga ibang pa na mga cases din na mag-violate siya sa human rights nato. Sa economical challenges, ang Philippines kay nag-face ng high poverty rates, income inequality, unemployment which worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic. So, COVID-19. Tapos na yun siya, pero niya gihapon after effects kay ma-feel gihapon hantod kuman. Sa una gaya, di kita well off na, di ba? Pero tungkol silang sa mga dahil napatay sa COVID-19 o mga medical gayod na nag-growers anato and poverty gayod anato ma-face kuman. O income sa inequality kay feeling mo na gatabaho ka gayod like longer time pero gamay dagay mo sweldo ug unemployment haad kuman kay daghanan mga mo graduate sa college pero hangtod gihapon kuman murag wa gyapon sa kuha ng trabaho nasakto gayod sa ila kay another pa yon nga na. But let's stick to the topic of COVID-19. So, the pandemic caused significant disruption across sectors leading to job losses and business closures. So, mga issue ko niyon nga na kinahanglan policies that promote inclusive growth and reduce income disparities yan. Kinahanglan solution gid nga na og strengthen social safety nets and providing target support to vulnerable population are essential to mitigate the effects of economic downturn and support recovery. The political controversies, ang raising concern nila kay the country's stability. Ang issue gayud ko ng 2024 charter change which aims to amend economic provision na kasyoon attract foreign investment. So, ang ito na po sa inyo kailan na charter change basically. Ang inigid yun, gusto gayud ko gayud nila na i-change ang 1987 Constitution. Especially gayud ko yun sa economic provisions na makasang kita ng foreign investments. Pero may concern gayud ang iba na politiko sa ini o ang potential ko na manipulation na mahimo sa process. Additionally, sad ko ito sa media sa Mindanao succession remains a point of tension, particularly from related statements fueling fears of instability. So, yaon sabyaon na o the officials from the Bangsamoro Autonomous opposition succession, the possibility of conflict remains a significant amount. So, international relations. And international relations is about the relating the strategical approach to Taiwan, recognizing the potential for deeper collaboration, especially given the valuable contribution overseas Filipino workers in Taiwan's electronics industry. Pero sa relationship with China, kaya nag-remain siya difficult or complex. Kay tungkol sa issue na the West Philippine Sea as a key concern. Kaya doon nakitagay nga sa balita, marimay nato sa istorya nila yan na the conflict ang Navy ng Pilipinas sa Chinese o gaawag kita yon na sa West Philippine Sea na ato ko niyon pero may part sa biyaon na Chinese. The Philippines seeks to manage its ties with Beijing by keeping China in a strategic buffer role while simultaneously strengthening alliances and partnership with other countries to safeguard its interests. Nakakita ka muna nito mga balita ko no na nasakit ito China sa ato na ano kita sa iba na country partnership how dito America o Japan kuno na murag na-offend sila sa ato. Amo na naghimo na nag-international kuno kita sa iba na countries para kuno safeguarding an ato but at the same time kuno gikip nato ang China at arm's length for di kay kita engage sa murag yon awayan ginat sila kay murag na igay na to yung kaya. So, current issues in Philippine politics regarding human rights. So, itong kaina gayod, ako nag-point out ang mga different types of issues gayod nga na ato ma-face. But, ang ako, kuman ini gayod na i-report yon na regarding sa human rights kay mas ipa-explain ko sa iyo. So, the Philippines continues to the Philippines continues maghawid sa complex and concerning human rights na situation. Despite the change in administration, while the number of extrajudicial killings have decreased since President Marcos Jr. took office, the practice persists and impunity remains a significant issue. So, hantod ko gihapon daw, isang tapos na doon mga war on drugs ni Duterte, kaya na sa si Marcos, problema yan ko niyan iban na murag naghimo gihapon na niyaon. So, na-issue gihapon si hatod kuman. Yade. Extrajudicial killing and the war on drugs, the front continues to cast a long shadow over the human rights situation in the Philippines. Wa, si President Marcos J. Jr. gastated siya sa administration focus on rehabilitation and due process related to drugs remain a serious concern. So, hatod hapon, anya din extrajudicial killings kay major concern gihapon siya. Ang government guide, the stop niya sila releasing ng statistics on drug-related killings since Marcos Jr. take place. Pero kung nayan ko ng mga iba na independently, the monitoring groups estimate ko na like naghani or hundreds of people have been killed in drug-related violence since his inauguration. So, the lack of accountable for these killings is a major concern. Only a handful of cases have been investigated and there have been only a series of convicted police officers for drug-related killings, highlighting the rooted impunity within the police force. So, tungod sa nangyari dito sa ato na extrajudicial killing on war on drugs ni Duterte, hantod sa maghihapon ko man, dili to yung daghan, pero still, may nangyari sa tunay na violence in drug-related violence kung daghaning people na patay o yung may mga nalain nangyari sa police kaya naaktuliyon sila yung nga na mga gipatay. So, major issue gid yan siya sa ato. And red tagging and harassment of activists. So, ang red tagging yon siya where an individual or organization are falsely, so hindi tinuod, itagaan silang label na yon na as communities or terrorists continue to be a major concern. So, innocent ka, so dadayin lang an ka, dadayin taraw, or falsely guide ka, lang ana, terrorist ka or communities, which is against human rights. This practice has led to numerous attacks and harassment of activists, journalists, and human rights defenders, creating the atmosphere of fear and intimidation. So, ano nagiging siya kuman na concern? The government's National Task Force to End Local Communities Armed Conflict, or the NTF-ELCHT, which works closely with the military and the police, had been accused of red tagging numerous individuals, including former Vice President Leni Robredo and journalists. So, major na ini kaya na-appeal na good si former Vice President Leni Robredo. Lang ko na sila na ang NTF-ELCAC nag-work yan sila ko sa the military o sa police. Sunod dayon, naakisahan sila kung nag-red tagging which yaon nag-false labeled sila sa mga tao or group na communities ko sila o terrorist sa iba ng mga individuals. So these practices had chilling effects on freedom of expression and association. As individuals fear speaking out against the government or engaging activism. So, murag dapat na kita mag-speak out kita o ng problema nato sa government. Mahadlok na dahil ko na kuyon kita tungod sa red tagging. The military police have also used social media to spread red tagging threats, and in several cases, those red threats subsequently killed by unknown gunman. Hala, yaon na gayud ko no na napatay tungod sa yaon na threats, sa red tagging threats. Which, na-major yaon siya sa concerning issues kuman. Next, kay dong attack against journalists. So, sa journalist Pilipinas grade ko no, nag-face grade sa tanang ng threats, harassment, o violence. Grabe gid yun na serious kay ilalagay mo nila job na kuha na news na para i-report sa mga tao. Of course, yan sa mga iba na journalist na mag-fake news, but some yung iban, kalain sa na magkatuloy sila na face ng mga threats, harassment, o any sort of kind of violence. So, lang ko na nila, daghan ko na ng mga journalist ko na napatay sa recent years, including si Percival Mabasa, a radio commentator who was shot dead in October 2022. So, sa 2022 ko na yung nakita ko na siya na napatay. Isa siyang journalist ha. The government also used the cyber label law to silence journalists critical of the administration, shutting down websites, and arresting activists. The lack of accountability for these attacks and the government use of legal measures to suppress dissent create a climax of fear and censorship undermining media freedom and information. So, ang issue siya kay gamit sa ng government na ila sa gigamit ang legal measures or ando na niya nga na para kuno masuppress kuno ang haod gadi na type of violation of human rights. So, the International Criminal Court or ICC investigation. So, the ICC investigation into the battle crimes against humanity committed on the 31 on drugs remain a significant development. So, hantod ko nagayod ko man nga na, and the International Criminal and ICC ko nagayod, against grade ko na sila during the 30s war on drugs. The Philippine government withdrew from the ICC in 2019, but the ICCC prosecute had requested authorities to resume the investigation ko arguing that the government had failed to demonstrate the agenda investigating these crimes. So, ICC ko na yun sila. Di sila musugot na stop ko na yun sa investigation ngadto di ako The NCC investigation is a crucial step towards holding perpetrators accountable and ensuring that people served for victims of human rights violation. So, importante din ko na sila sa ila ay napag-investigated para kuno ma-bring justice sa victims non-human rights violations. Pero problema na issue yan siya kuman or ano siya kay gisapan yaon sila.
So, my name is Harold Ortiz Zakiatan, and I will be discussing the current issues in Philippine politics regarding human rights. The International Criminal Court or ICC investigation. The ICC investigations into possible crimes against humanity committed during the 30s war on drugs remains a significant development. The Philippine government withdrew from the ICC in 2019. But the ICC prosecutor has requested authorization to resume the investigation, arguing that the Philippine government has failed to demonstrate that it is genuinely investigating these crimes. The ICC investigation is a crucial step towards holding perpetrators accountable and ensuring that the justice is served for victims of human rights violations. So first, ano ba ining ICC or International Criminal Court? So, ang International Criminal Court is a global court na gihimo para ma-prosecute ang mga individuals na may responsible sa mga serious na crimes such as genocide, war crimes, crime against humanity, or crime of aggression. So, it was established through the Rome Statute na isa ka treaty na giaprobahan ni adtong July 17, 1998 o nisugod pagka-epektibo itong July 1, 2002. So, ang ICC is gituyo siya para mahatagan ng hustisya ang mga biktima sa grabe na mga krimen, labi na kung ang local na sistema sa hustisya is dili mo lihok or dili willing mo prosecute sa mga perpetrators. So, through a permanent court, the international community ensures na may accountability para sa mga serious crimes. So the war on drugs launched by former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was a large-scale anti-drug campaign na nag-start during his time in 2016. So Duterte had promised during his campaign na i-eliminate niya ang mga illegal drugs. So his administration quickly started targeting drug users and dealers. So sa iya campaign included kini ang police operations o gina-encourage sab niya ang mga citizens na i-report ang mga suspected drug activities. However, it became controversial because of the reports of widespread killings and human rights abuses. So sa iya campaign, it resulted thousands of deaths including suspected drug dealers, users, and others allegedly involved in the drug trade. So damoy mga deaths or kuan na hitabo during police operations. So they often labeled as legitimate police encounters. However, human rights group had an independent investigation raised concerns that many of these killings were extrajudicial, meaning they occurred outside the law and involved suspects who were unarmed or had already surrendered. So, ang ICC is ka-start na din sila investigate sa campaign ni Duterte kay tungod sa mga allegations na pagpatay na pwede siya mag-qualify as crimes against humanity. So, sa crime against humanity, hindi ang acts na ng widespread killings, torture, and other inhuman acts carried out as part of a systematic attack on civilians. So, ang human rights groups is nag-argue sila na that the scale and natures of the killings during the drug war meet these criteria. So the Commission on Elections, COMELEC in the Philippines, is facing several challenges as it prepares for the 2025 national and local elections. So, ini na mga challenges include gini ang concerns about the reliability and of the automated election system and the possibility of political manipulations and the effects of budget cuts. Lack of trust in the automated election system. One of the most significant issues is the lack of trust in the automated election system. Experts and poll watchers have raised concerns about the COMELEC's failures to comply with legal provisions that guarantee transparency in the election process. Specifically, they point to the lack of observation during ballot printing, the absence of documented results to verify the system functionality, and the omission of required security measures like digital signatures. These concerns have led to calls for hybrid system that combines manual and automated voting processes to ensure transparency and accountability. The COMELEC's response to this criticism has been met with skepticism, with some commissioners even threatening to jail critics of the agency. So, sa lack of trust in the automated election system, so naay mga reasons why ang mga tao waray salig sa EES or sa automated election system. So first, we have lack of transparency. Second is security issues. Third is previous problems. Fourth is lack of accountability. Fifth is political manipulation. So first one is many people believe that the process is not transparent enough. So concerns have been raised about the absence of public oversight during key stages like ballot printing and the transmission of results. Without the ability to observe these processes, so nag-create siya ng suspicion sa system na pwede siya ma-manipulate or ma-hack. Second is security issues. So ang mga tao is problema sila if problema sila kay base na ang system is ma-hack or may mga technical glitches na pwede maka-apekto sa vote count. So third is previous problems. So in past elections, na ay mga reports na glitches or issues with the machines which nag-lead siya ng delays sa pag-count or pag-correct sa results bitaw. So these problems have fueled doubts about the reliability of the system. So fourth is lack of accountability. Some believe that because the system is automated, there is less accountability for errors or failures. So if something goes wrong, it can be harder to trace or correct mistakes, leading to a lack of confidence in the process. So fifth is political manipulation fears. There is also a fear that the system could be used for political manipulations, either by influencing the software or controlling how votes are counted. So this fear is heightened by the lack of trust in the people or institutions responsible for overseeing the elections. In 2025, there's a possibility that the charter change plebiscite could be held at the same time as the national and local elections. Supporters say it will save money, but critics argued it might not be legal since past ruling say plebiscite should be separate. Comelec believes it can handle the challenges of holding the elections together, but the final decision will be made by Congress. This debate also brings up concerns about political manipulation and the importance of keeping the process transparent. Budget cuts and their impact. The COMELEC is also facing significant budget cuts, which have forced it to the reduce of the number of precincts for the 2025 elections. This means that more voters will be assigned to each precinct, potentially leading to longer queues, increased strains on the AES, and a higher risk of logistical challenges. The COMELEC has appealed for the restoration of its budget, but the outcome remains uncertain. These budget cuts raise concerns about the COMELEC's ability to effectively manage the 2025 elections and ensure a fair and credible process.
Good morning, ma'am. I am Kimjus Villapani, the reporter of Group 3. Current issues in Philippine politics regarding COMELEC and election. The Philippine legal framework does not explicitly disqualify individuals with pending charges from running for office. However, there are specific laws and legal precedents that shed light on the issue, highlighting the complexities surrounding the balance between the presumption of innocence and public trust. So, nagpamatuod siya nga pag nakay kaso tapos you're running for public office, dili dan ka ma-disqualified then. However nga isa po ni sa mga batas at nagbibigay liwanag sa kaning issue labi na sa balance sa pagitan ng presumption of innocence and public trust. Philippine Constitution. The Constitution does not explicitly bar individuals facing charges from running for office. The principle of presumption of innocence until proven guilty applies, meaning individuals are not automatically disqualified from holding public office simply because they are facing charges. So, pag mudagan ka as public servants, kung nakay kaso tapos dili pa siya proven guilty, inosente gihapon ka, di gihapon ka ma-disqualified o pwede gihapon ka mudagan as a public servant. Public Act Number 6646. This law, known as the Electoral Reforms Act, contains provision regarding the suspension of proclamations of candidates with pending election-related cases. Specifically, Section 6 and 7 allow the COMELEC or court to suspend the proclamation of a candidate with a pending election office case, provided the evidence of guilt. If nakay kaso nga labi na sa pagbili ng boto tapos nakay matibay na ebidensya, maaari itong suspindihin sa COMELEC o korte sa pagproclamation sa kandidato. COMELEC Resolution Number 10924. This resolution reiterates the provision of RA 6646 regarding the suspension of proclamation. It says that if a petition remains unresolved on election day, the COMELEC may suspend the proclamation of responding candidate even if they win. So, kung na magkuan sa imong petition nga na wa pa nimo na resolba sa labi na sa election day, magkabalo ka nga, kung makadaog ka, di gihapon ang COMELEC, pwede ra is suspende ang pag-claim sa imo as sa winner nga candidate. Kung kana nga kaso is wala pa na-resolba sa election day. Dumlao versus COMELEC, 1980. This landmark case addressed the constitutional of law that barred individuals facing charges from running for office. The Supreme Court declared the provision unconstitutional, stating that it violated the presumption of innocence. This case established a strong precedent for upholding the rights of evidence facing charges to participate in elections. So katong kay Dumlao versus COMELEC is this case provision in the election code that disqualify candidates who have been charged with a crime from running of public office. The petitioner Dumlao argued that the provision violated his constitutional right to equal protection of a law and to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. And then ang Supreme Court agreed with Dumlao, stating the provision violated the presumption of innocence and the right to equal protection under the rule of law. So, nagihapoy ko si bisan mudagan ka tapos nakay kaso. Nagihapoy ning kuanan gyapon ka sa korte. Nabon kay karapatan nga sa pantay na proteksyon ng batas at kung ilalagay na intusinte hanggang sa mapatunayan nagkasala nagyapon kay kuan protection ana. Oy versus COMELEC. This case involved a candidate who was declared a nuisance candidate. The Supreme Court ruled that the COMELEC powers to suspend proclamation only applies to the disqualification case and not to access involving nuisance candidate. The decision further clarified the scope of the COMELEC authority in suspending proclamation. So in the case of Oy run for a position in the 2001 barangay elections in Poblacion Kaingan, Ifugao. However, ang COMELEC is nag-declared him as a nuisance candidate nga nag-lead sa EDSA as disqualification. Oy filed the petition with the Supreme Court ug nag-argue sila between sa COMELEC. Ang COMELEC wa sila authority nga masuspend ning as proclamation as candidate. Current issues in Philippines politics regarding its parallel to US issues in politics. The situation of Rodrigo Duterte in the Philippines and Donald Trump in the US, both facing charges while seeking or having sought re-election, highlight growing trend in global politics, the erosion of traditional norms, and the rise of populist figures who challenge established institutions. Erosion of traditional norms. Both Duterte and Trump have been known for their controversial and unconventional tactics which have challenged the established norms of political conduct. Charge and re-election. Both Duterte and Trump faced allegation wronging, including corruption. Duterte and Trump nag-face allegation including corruption, abuse power, obstruction of justice while seeking election. populist appeal. Both leaders rose to power on a wave populist statement promising to shake up the system and bring about change. They often appealed to voters who left marginalized and disenfranchised by the political establishment, and their rhetoric often focused on national law and order and reduction of the coup. Both isa po ni sa current issues itong leaders rose to power away statement promising to shake up the system, bring out change. Tapos anti-established rhetoric, both Duterte and Trump were highly critical on the political elite and existing institution, portraying themselves as champion of the people against a corrupt and infected system. Use of social media, both leaders effectively utilized social media, communicated with their supporters bypassing traditional media outlets for fostering a sense of connection with their base. They use social media to nagamit sa social media to spread the message para na sila ikuan connection labi na karon nga generation wala social media nga nagamiton para kuan daghang supporters. Polarizing figures, both Duterte and Trump were highly polarizing figures to dividing public opinion and creating climate intense political division. Their supporters were rarely loyal, where their opponents were equally vocal in position. Tira to, salamat.